All
right.
Hello
Hello and
everyone.
welcome to Sports Intellect Podcast. And today I have with me Sanjeet and Sandivani from let's focus on yesterday's match then, and we'll begin there. So RCB once again triumphant, and I must say Sandivani that I have been proved right. Although not the way I imagined it to go down, but a close match once again. I mean, not so a close match, but both the teams fought it out and. A little bit of twist and turns, not as much as the one we saw in the previous game, but definitely something for the fans of RCB to rejoice. So I let's begin with you, Sanjeet. If after a long time you're joining us, so Sanjeet, where do you think it went right for RCB yesterday?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I feel captain stepped up. Glad to see him. Glad to see him. Get among the runs, big runs. All right, so close to getting 100. I really feel he should have got that 100. Well deserved. Played very well. All right, Karthik again going in, not out. I have to say Shahbaz Ahmed. In the last 3-4 games, I mean, I think we spoke about him not being the most valuable addition or not adding the most value to the RCB team with the ball at least, but it's turned out more than handy as far as the batting is concerned. So, of course, if you see, if you look at the game yesterday, there were about Faf and the extras together have had about 105 runs, right, in about 60 balls. And others chipped in every now and then a good 20, I think 22 or 23 from Maxwell, right? And other players hitting with 10, 15, and Karthik hitting with the 13 runs here and there. But more or less, of course, the only thing went right, of course, yesterday was Faf du Plessis, and that was most of it as far as the batting was concerned. And I don't know. I mean, I think yesterday was most of it was about Faf itself. Kunal Pandya, in fact, I was impressed to see him turn out a little handy with the bat, came a little up the order. A good 40 run. I've seen him do that with the Mumbai Indians more often, right? So finally LSG thinking that probably he can be sent up the order, instead of maybe a holder or somebody else. I feel Manish Pandey again now needs to come to the party. He cannot be scoring, low runs or giving those 20, 30 runs at a slow strike rate. It has to be faster coming from him. Also, the strike rate of most batsmen yesterday maybe exceeds Stoinis, and I think Holder hit a 6 or 2. So apart from that, the first 6 batsmen playing ahead, like each one of them played at a subpar strike rate. If you leave out Kunal Pandya, I think everybody played a strike rate of maybe run a ball. So I feel it was more of Lucknow's wrongdoing than talking about what RCB did right. But take nothing away from Faf du Plessis. I mean, there was something that you wouldn't want to miss.
Yeah, fair enough. Sandivani, over to you. As Sanjit mentioned rightly, and there's something I was gonna question. I mean, I was gonna bring up as well. Krunal Pandya had a strike of 150, and Marcus Stoinis at a 160, and Jason Ola 200. But aside from that, if you look at it, Quinton de Kock with a strike of 60, KL Rahul 125, Manish Pandey 75, Deepak Huda 92, Ayush Badonia 100. These numbers are not something that you want your batsman to have in a T20 match, let alone when you're chasing the kind of target that RC had. 181 is still a steep target, even though not as much if you look at the modern standards. But these strike rates are dismal. And where do you think was the reason that these strike rates stood it?
I think yesterday in the pre-match, like in the preview, we spoke about the matchups. Uh, like they could have employed Maxwell in the power play, and so they did. They used him for that 1 over, and we always knew that Quinton de Kock had been dismissed by Hazelwood 8 times, so he made it 9 times. So I think RCB were very clever with the matchups. And Lucknow went a bit wrong with their matchups. They held on to Ravi Bishnoi's overs a little bit longer than what they would have liked. They thought that they will use him against Dinesh Karthik, but then again they couldn't pick up that fifth wicket, and that is exactly why I think a lot of credit should go to Shahbaz Ahmed. Like he, along with Faf du Plessis, laid that foundation, so that like at the end Faf and Karthik could go for their hits instead of worrying about who will play if we get out right now. So I think the foundation was laid perfectly by both of them. And we spoke about this as well, that RCB's like top six concerns. Like the top batting order looks like on paper it looks very good, but they are not coming to the party as of now. Maxwell is playing those cameos, whereas the top three were not firing. Faf played a brilliant knock yesterday. Other than that, I think not much to speak about that. We knew that RCB were going to struggle. They were going to. I told you that the game will be decided by how RCB bats, and they were 62 for 4, and LSG had the game. But then again, some decisions here and there, and Faf is always a class act. So once they scored 181, I always knew it was going to be very difficult for Lucknow if their openers would not click. Because both the openers had a very good record against RCB, but yesterday they could not get going, and hence the result.
Yeah, I think fair enough. I'll get to you, Abel, now that you're here. Great news, RCB once again, making sure that they get those 2 points without much questions raised. But let's talk about Josh Hazelwood here. I think one thing they've always associated with RCB is the lack of power when it comes to pace attack, especially in the death. You've had Harshal Patel come in, but Josh Hazelwood and his impact, especially not just considering yesterday's match, but overall, how big has his impact been when it comes to that baseballing attack of RCB?
Well, massive for RCB at least because of what he brings to the table. We had discussed earlier before the start of the season also how Josh Hazelwood is going to lead the pack, and also rightly that's what he's doing right now. He's a much improved T20 bowler if you look at all sorts. And if you look at world cricket itself, since the last season he had spent with Chennai Super Kings, he has turned himself into a bowler who can bowl in all phases of the game. That's one thing which you expect from your strike bowler as well, and he's been doing it quite consistently, which is a happy news for RCB fans as well as Australian fans as well. And last year also, I thought he was very underrated in terms of his bowling because he used to deliver more games for Chennai up front and also in the back end because he's got so many variations now. If you talk about Josh Hazelwood 3-4 years back, he was pretty much one dimensional and hitting one length. But now, if you look at Josh Hazelwood, he's a much more a different kind of a bowler who can hit the length at different phases of the game. He has got the slower ball, he's got that Yorker, he's got almost everything in his armory, which makes him a very potent bowler, which makes him a very dangerous bowler for T20 batters to face as well. Now, if you look in the last 3 innings, he's picked up 8 wickets since his return. Those kind of figures are extremely good for a bowler. And also another thing which RCB will also be happy with is form of Siraj. Siraj is slowly getting back into the groove. He started the tournament pretty bad, but then RCB have started using him differently. That's also a good thing because they want to make sure that he gets back into confidence. They might have felt like he was losing out on confidence through the course of the tournament, where you felt like he was unable to ball at the death overs like he was able to ball last season. That's the reason you're seeing him to be balled out in the first 15 overs. Then you're seeing Harshal Patel and Hazelwood finish things off. And that's another thing also. Once Hazelwood is back, they are very confident that Hazelwood can do the job in the back end. And Siraj can possibly, be the attacking ball up front. So, RCB has got a lot of dynamic options right now in their hands. So, and Faf du Plessis has been marshalling them pretty well. That's one thing which you have to talk about Faf du Plessis. He's done a tremendous job as a captain where he's, made use of these bowlers at different situations very well. I thought one of the weak links of RCB was their fifth bowling option where they had to shuffle up with Maxwell and Shahbaz. Even that was done very very good because Maxwell is a very underrated bowler in T20 cricket as well, and he's got a very good matchup against some of the batsmen. So they use Maxwell rightly up front against KL Rahul, who he had dismissed 3 to 4 times, and also Shahbaz Ahmed. He had a very good spell out there. He's been batting beautifully as well. But just talking from the bowling front, Shahbaz Ahmed has been doing a clean work, though he's been not up there with the wickets. But then exactly what you need from a fifth and a sixth bowler. So, so far so good for RCB and Faf du Plessis.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, then let's look at today's matchup. We have the Delhi Capitals facing against the Punjab Kings. Delhi Capitals, let's just begin there. I think they have not had a good season. The kind of matches that we had seen them play in the last IPL. We just saw them, play so well, and we expected them to probably come back as the title contenders this year around. But They are eighth placed, and Punjab, who is just done a little better than them in terms of in terms of just the net run rate, and the fact that they've just got 2 points extra. But they're gonna face up. They both are gonna be looking at 2 points because you don't want to go down in the points table anymore. Because this points table is very much messed up. In net run rate is probably more important than points this year around, because that's just how the IPL has played out. Looking at today, there's a lot of grey clouds in terms of the COVID cases in the Delhi camp as well. But the match is happening. Luckily for IPL fans, they're not going to have a day off in IPL. Sanjit, I'll begin with you. How much do you think that the COVID situation, especially Tim Seifert and Mitch Marsh being affected, is going to affect Delhi on the field?
I mean, it is going to, right? Surely, because everybody was waiting for Mitch Marsh. When the IPL, he's been playing good T20 cricket all around, all right? So he was somebody who was being waited on. Mitch Marsh is gonna come. He's gonna come. I just hope he's okay and or a speedy, wishing a speedy recovery to him. I heard in the morning he was hospitalized. So I just hope he's doing okay. But I mean, I don't know. Mm, it's really tricky because as per the new rules, if the team I think has 12 fit players or something, I mean the game will go ahead.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
yeah. So I feel and we've seen in the past that the whole COVID conundrum tends to catch up with players. Starts with one, but then eventually over the period days, it shifts from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. And Delhi isn't. I mean, Ricky Ponting said in the conference, the other day that it's not they haven't been playing bad cricket, which I agree. Alright, they've had a couple of good individual performances as a team. Also, they're trying to come together. Kuldeep, they've bought out Kuldeep. I thought a couple of months ago that maybe there was the last of Kuldeep Yadav I was seeing maybe in Indian, maybe in the Indian jersey. But kudos to the management. They're getting the players back on track. They're finding their mojo. But I just fear that they should not be in a position where they do not have their players to play at all now. Right?
Yeah.
I mean they're messing up maybe 2 or 3 overs in the entire game. They're playing good cricket, and just when it looked like they were about to get things right and maybe just sit on a spree and just whoosh over, maybe that might just not happen. So I don't know, but yeah, hopefully the game should go on. I'm rooting for Delhi today. I don't know. It looks like I I hate it or I love it. I don't know what it is when I support another team and people start smoking right around like on my face. But I have nothing else to that. They're the closest to the Mumbai Indians, just. So, no, but in all honesty, I'm a big
No,
Prithvi
there's
Shaw
a
fan.
little bit too much red for a Mumbai Indians jersey, I feel.
I don't know. I just hope maybe Prithvi Shaw comes good today. Warner's been great. He's been doing well. I don't know if whether maybe a Seifert's gonna play or a Nokia's gonna play. I'm not very
Seifert
sure.
is, if I'm not wrong, Seifert is the player who's been positive, so he won't be available.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so Andrew
Yeah,
Nokia plays today then. That's going to be
yeah.
great. I don't know. Then maybe Mustafizur comes in. I mean, I don't know. Marsh added a little more depth, or so as to say, or more quality with the bat than maybe the others. But it's okay. A good day for Avman Pavel in that case. I mean, I hope he plays well now. At least it's like that bad student in the class, but the teacher gives him chances again and again. So it's like, so he's like, I don't know what it is, but I hope Delhi does well today and Powell doesn't get to bat as many balls as he has had the chance to.
All right. Let's look at then some of the. Let's look at Punjab team. They've not been up to the mark as well. They're seventh on the table. Although seven is this year around. Seven is the mid-table, which is what is the new dimension that is added this year around. Because all of a sudden your 7 and 8 is not your wooden spoon. But this team has the potential. They have looked at this particular template of going all guns blazing. It has worked for them. It hasn't worked for them in some matches, but they've been very good when it comes to the power play. They're the best team in the power play in terms of run rate, but when it comes to the last few overs, there is the Swiggy fast five as they call it. They are the worst team. So a bit of a paradox or an irony when it comes to it. You're doing so well in the start, but not doing as much in the depth. Sandeep, I'll come to you. Where do you think this issue lies? Do you think it's because they're losing too many wickets up front, looking at the template,
Yeah,
that when it
if
comes to the end, they end up losing that, the energy, or they don't have the quality towards the end to propel them?
yeah, if you go too hard too early, and like if you don't give respect to the bowlers, like to the key bowlers of the opposition, if you like go after every bowler and don't play the balls according to the merit, like in your day you can score 240, 250. But what if you miss time one hit? And that's been the case for Punjab Kings, I feel, because they have gone too hard too early. All the players are looking to just go for it. I don't know. They are some sort in some way they are lacking some game awareness. Same like KKR. All the batsmen are looking to score like at 11, 12 runs per over. But the problem with that is if you don't keep wickets in your hand in the last 5, 7 overs, they don't have anyone to accelerate. Liam Livingston has been in excellent form in the last 5 or 6 games. He scored 3 half centuries. So I think they are relying too heavily on him and Shikhar Dhawan. Shikhar Dhawan has always been the backbone of the team in like in any IPL, in any team where he performs. He has been the backbone and he plays the anchor's role for that team. So I think Mayank came good in that game and then he got injured in the next one. So also I think there was some tactical issue. Like for me, if you are playing Johnny Bairstow, who has done very well for SRH opening the innings, why push him at number 3 and open with somebody like Prabh Simran? So that's the issue for me with Punjab Kings. Also, their bowling. Rabada has not been in the best of forms. Like you don't expect Rabada to like go for this many runs. Like he for Delhi Capitals, he was their prime wicket taker. But this season he hasn't picked up that many wickets. He has bowled well, but the Punjab Kings batting unit hasn't like scored that many runs. Also, toss has been a factor. Punjab Kings has not won many tosses. So they bat first and they score something, and then Rabada and Arshdeep, when they come into bowl, they don't have enough runs to defend. So Arshdeep, Rabada, and Rahul Chahar aside, I think the other two bowling options, Vaibhav Arora and the fifth bowling option of Liam Livingstone and Odean Smith. Again, I'm not a big fan of Odean Smith. I have not been a big fan of Odean Smith throughout this IPL. I don't know, he picked up that 4 wickets in that game, but that was again in the last over. So bowling to tailenders when you need 15 of 4, picking up 3 wickets, I don't think you will get that value for the wickets. Like I won't give you that value. You will earn a lot of fantasy points, but not that merit. But yeah, so I think their fifth bowling option is a big concern for them. The fourth bowling option, that is Vaibhav Arora, who has been bowling in the power plays. I think he has been bowling one too many overs in the power plays. They are holding Arshdeep Singh back. Like they are keeping 3 overs from Arshdeep in the last 10. And in many of the games, you see that they have just 70 or 80 runs to defend in the last 10. So they are somewhere losing the plot in the first 10 overs itself. So the bowling, the two bowling options over there and the batting approach. It will be interesting to see the batting approach and whether they go for Rajapaksha. Because I think it is unfair that somebody who is in good form, you are taking him out, and Bairstow has already played 3 games to no success. So let's see whether Odean Smith sits out or Bairstow. I think they will go for Rajapaksha tonight.
I mean, that's my question to you, Abel. Before we pick up the question that Shanti Priya has put for us in the comments, do you think the role that they're looking to give Bairstow is something that's probably a little too late for him? And if that's the role that they want Bairstow to play, why don't you look at someone like Rajapaksha who's done well? See, instead of looking for star quality, you're looking for horses for courses.
Right. I would rather have Bairstow also play in the 11 alongside Rajapaksha, because Bairstow for England has been batting at number 4 if you look at T20 cricket since last couple of years.
Who do you drop? I mean, their options is to drop someone like Liam Livingston.
My straight swap would be to bring out someone like Odean Smith out, and just bring in Bairstow. Anyways, he's not offering you much with the ball. He's not offering you much with the bat. And you can bring in someone like a Rishi Dhawan in place of him and probably Rajapaksa instead of Jitesh Sharma. Jitesh Sharma has not done anything wrong, but then if you have Bairstow, Rajapaksa, Liam Livingston at 3, 4, 5, it makes them a formidable batting unit, and they can more often than not avoid those batting collapses, which has been happening way too often for this team now. If you look at last match as well, they lost 4 wickets in the last over, or they're not been able to up their ante. Once they get those starts, they've been very good in getting those starts. They've been up off the mark. They've been 70 for 2 or 70 for 1 in the 6 overs. They've been getting those good power play starts, but they've not been able to capitalize or optimize those starts into bigger scores like 200s, 210, except that match against RCB where they chased on 205. Since then, they've miserably fallen short of those scores because of the ending they've got. And you've rightly mentioned that, in the power play, they've had a very bad scoring rate as well. It's quite surprising because.
Even no, their power play has been the best.
No, not power play, sorry,
their-
death overs, correct. I'm sorry. Death overs, they have very poor scoring rate as well. I think it has to do a lot with them losing a lot of wickets, and it's directly proportionate to the approach you take up as well. Last time also, I thought their game awareness was very poor. Someone like Shah Rukh Khan not giving strike to Liam Livingston. Liam Livingston was striking the ball beautifully from one end and now gets strike for close to 12 balls out there. And what's the point of having a batsman who scored 60 of 33 balls and he's not getting any strike because you want to go out there and score and you're just striking at less than 100. And Shah Rukh Khan has been a huge problem for this team as well. I know he's batting at a very tricky position. It's not easy for any Indian batsman to come out there and bat at number 6, number 5. If you look at our country itself, how many batsmen have succeeded in that position? Maybe 1 or 2, maximum 2 or 3, I would say. I can remember Dhoni, Raina, and Yuvraj Singh being the most successful batsmen batting at those positions. But it's very hard. And also nowadays you have Dinesh Karthik who's doing that pretty well. It's very hard for any Indian youngster to bat at number 4, number 5, number 6 because that position demands a lot out of you. And Shah Rukh Khan also is coming off a lot of baggage. For example, he's having a burden of 9.5 crores, close to 10 crores. That they have paid him a huge sum of money to play that role because he's got the reputation in the domestic circuit that he's able to finish games off very consistently for his franchise. That's one thing which you can expect from a tournament like IPL as well. When a player walks into an IPL setup, you will have that aura of pressure around you where you will have to step up your game even more, and you can be found out very easily as well because quality of bowling in the IPL cricket is much more higher than domestic cricket as well. Now, for this very reason, I would like to have Bairstow bat at number 4, Rajapaksa at 3, and Liam Livingston at 5. So it also helps someone like Shah Rukh Khan, to ease the pressure up slightly going ahead. And Odean Smith, he's not done anything good. So far, it's been very poor from him. And also, Punjab can use 6 bowling option and Liam Livingston to settle it out if at all they need one.
Yeah.
All right. Sanjeet, I'll ask you this question. Rishabh Pant, obviously, being their captain and one of the most prized players of Delhi Capitals, but he hasn't lived up to the tag that he brings along, the aura that he brings along. He's struggled to get going, except for probably that one match where he took to the ballers a little bit more. Do you think maybe it's time that they try and push him up to number 3, and give him that space, give him that time to build an innings and be an anchor?
First of all, congratulations, Sandeepani, on setting YouTube on fire. If only Rishabh Pant can have a performance like Sandeepani in today's game, then it will be.
Yeah, I hope my predictions are like that too. Match predictions.
Answering your question, I feel why not? All right. Because you take the opening pair apart, all right? You say you take Shaw and Warner out, all right? Your batting is Rahman Powell, Lalit Yadav, it is Rishabh Pant, I think there is Akshar Patel and Shardul Thakur, right? So I feel why not? I mean, who else will play at number 3 if not Rishabh Pant today? I feel today he has to, all right? It'll be imperative. See, Rabada has picked a wicket in every game that he's played in, all right? Also, David Warner is slightly, how do I say this, not comfortable. When Rabada's bowling, he doesn't have the best numbers, against Kagiso Rabada. So we can expect maybe Rabada to strike, maybe get a Warner's wicket, or if he really gets space, maybe even a Prithvi Shaw's wicket. And my only question is if he bowls, if maybe a Rabada or maybe, I don't know, whoever, if whoever plays well today, oh my God, Sorry, I'm distracted. I can't concentrate while Sandipani is on my screen.
I think today's star is definitely Shivani Gupta. Shout out from my side to you.
Yeah, Shivani Gupta, shout out from my side as well.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh God.
Yeah, Sanjeev, you were saying.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So I was saying, so why not?
Right.
So might as well, give maybe Rishabh Pant the chance to maybe build the innings. All right.
Yeah.
See, as a captain, you have to have a chance to get in, to bat more balls probably, and maybe accelerating the innings isn't a problem for you. He can take that ahead. My only problem is temperament. With Rishabh Pant has shown he consistently lacks in white ball cricket. All right, I'm not saying does not lack in dead ball cricket, but the results will prove me wrong. So, but as far as
Yeah.
white ball cricket is concerned, all right, results have. I mean, they're not in the favor of Rishabh Pant, and every now and then he sees the run rate dip down below 8 o'clock. He will just try and whack the spinner over. Maybe go down maybe go just I don't know, man. I mean, for somewhere or some reason he feels he can hit a 6 or 2 and just get the game again in his control, and that bargain he tends to lose his wicket. But today, unfortunately or fortunately for him, I don't know, he does not have that luxury to maybe get out because he does not have the highest quality of batting following. Because that 4, 5, 6, 7 is not something that anybody would want to depend on. I'm pretty sure the entire the Delhi squad knows it. Right, so today is practically I mean, 70-80% batting has to come from Pant, Warner, or Shaw. Either two of them have to get 60s or one of them have to get 85-90. Only then, they be able to chase down a total or get to a formidable total. Also, quick question to like any of you whoever wants to take it. It is like, say if Rajapaksha comes in, we were never in favor of him being dropped since the beginning. He's done well, all right. But he made way for Bairstow. If at all he comes back in, then Bairstow maybe again has to go to number 4, where I feel he will struggle slightly more than what he's already struggling. All right. So if you drop Bairstow, all right, and make way for Rajapaksa again, is that not the problem that Punjab has had since the initial seasons? They get a big name and they get him to play, and they drop someone in form, and then maybe the big name doesn't do well, then they make him sit also. And if Rajapaksa doesn't find form now, he's unable to connect bat and ball, then maybe he's going to sit out again, and there's going to be a lot of chopping and changing. There's no Mayank Agarwal, so I don't know. I feel it's a good thing as far as Delhi is concerned that they don't have enough players probably, or I don't know, they're questioning a couple of players. But as far as Punjab is concerned, I mean, I don't know. I mean, they look confused as a team, and so that's my question. Like, if at all, I mean, I think you all agree that Rajapaksa should get a chance. But if he gets it in place of maybe a Bairstow or something else, how would that be? Like, would it be fair on Bairstow? I don't think so. It would be fair on Bairstow after 3 games. It's a little, it's not the
just
most
drop
just.
Odean Smith. No,
I think Odean
that's
Smith
what I've
has
been saying. Yeah, Odean Smith should
Odean
make
Smith is
way.
dropped.
I have been saying this from the last 3
Odean Smith
games
is
that
dropped.
Punjab
So
team
yeah.
should drop
Odean
Odean
Smith is
Smith.
dropped now.
So then you look
They
at
got Nathan Ellis.
oh, that's interesting actually. So Nathan Ellis is brought in, come in. So I
Yeah.
think there's still.
Which means
Is it something
at number
like
7,
Mayank Agarwal is also in,
Nabada will
isn't it?
bat at number 7. They've got a much more slimmer batting order now going ahead. Which Shah Rukh Khan will bat number 6, Jitesh Sharma at number 5. So basically, they are so heavily reliant on their top 4 now going ahead.
See,
If
they
that-
had
Also
2
now,
issues.
is
They
it
had 2
fair
issues.
that
The
the
bowling,
Punjab-
yeah.
Yeah, my
The
question
bowling
is,
was
is
the
it now
issue.
fair? I'm sorry, Sandivani. Is it
Yeah, no,
fair that
no.
you look at a template, we've compared the template to the the England one, and we've seen how the English T20 team goes after the ball from ball 1. But the fact that they have batting till number 10, number 11, Adil Rashid, and even Mark Wood can swing a bit. But you don't see that kind of batting depth in this Punjab team, and that's probably the reason why they haven't had success with this template. Right, the fact that their batting is not as long as an England team. I mean, compared to the Republic TV, we are a bit more amicable with each other. But
I don't know about Sanjit.
Oh man, I'm this close to crying on live streams.
So, do you guys think the batting depth is the issue? And now that they've added Nathan Ellis, the batting gets even more weaker. Sandipani, what do you think?
No, I think they had two issues. I mentioned that the fourth and fifth bowling option was an issue. They have brought in Nathan Ellis to basically cover up for, say, Vaibhav Arora would have bowled up 4 overs. He has been bowling 3 overs in the power plays. So you can use a Nathan Ellis has come in. You can bowl in the death. They have strengthened their bowling issue. With Odean Smith gone, I think Nathan Ellis will provide, I think, 2 to 3 overs, which Odean Smith was not bowling. Like they were keeping Odean Smith for the last overs. Yeah, they were just keeping Odean Smith in for the last overs. So I think with Nathan Ellis coming in, they have sort of sorted the bowling issue. But my concern is again the batting issue remains the same, because if they go hard at it, like if they don't change their approach of playing, and Rabada coming in at number 7 and Rahul Chahar coming in at number 8, you have seen that they have relied on their tailenders to give them provide them decent totals on the board, because we have seen Punjab Kings collapsing in like 3 or 4 of the games in this season. So they have been relying on their lower order to perform. With removing Odean Smith from the batting order, I think they could have strengthened their batting a bit by bringing in a Rajapaksha, because I don't know how much value will Nathan Ellis put to this bowling unit. But definitely a better choice than Odean Smith.
Fair enough, but I think the issue's also been this, that if we remove someone like Odean Smith, who's giving you more with the ball than probably what he's giving you with the bat, then all of a sudden you have to like just rely on Indian pacers, of which you don't even have a prime Indian pacers probably playing for India. Then, as Prioli mentioned, you probably have to bring in Rishi Dhawan, and don't know how much Rishi Dhawan will offer you as well with the ball in IPL context. When you have someone like David Warner, Rishabh Pant, Prithvi Shaw coming at you. So maybe the idea is, obviously I'm not saying Nathan Ellis is your best option, but probably it's a forced option. The lack of bowling depth that they have in this team, and it is being found out because of the fact that someone like Odean Smith hasn't given you with the ball. So it's probably a forced change, and they look at their batting and they feel if their batting is a bit more better off than their bowling, and that's probably why they brought in Nathan Ellis. I'll get to you. The question that that Rudra Pratap brought up about Sarfaraz Khan. We had a conversation a long time back off screen about why not play Sarfaraz Khan at number 3. Ask him to go ahead and do something like what probably Devil Brevis does for Mumbai.
Right. Two reasons why I'm a huge supporter of that argument, because Sarfaraz Khan all over his career has batted in those positions, even for his domestic side. And if you're making him bat at number 5, number 6, he does not have that game to possibly adapt to that position. I'll bring the same argument, because we are criticizing someone like a Shah Rukh Khan, Riyan Parag, Abdul Samad, because they do not have that forte of finishing in them. It's a different ability altogether to finish games and up the ante from ball one. Sarfaraz can't not have that, but he has got great ability to maneuver up front, score runs, then slowly up the ante with the time, with the progression of his innings. And that's one skill which is very blessed with. I think Delhi Capitals should make use of him, and they should have made use of him from the first game. I'm quite surprised. It should have been either Yash Dul or Sarfaraz Khan batting at number 3. Neither of them have. And now it's the best opportunity for them to bat at number 3, because if you look, they have not had the best of start of the season. They've just won 2 out of 5, and 2 out of 5 is not a good start at all. If they lose today, and considering the morale, they've not had enough time to practice everything, which is a highly likely today that they might end up on the losing side, which I hope not. And today will be the ideal position for someone like a Sarfaraz Khan to walk out there if there's an early loss of a wicket to stabilize, or if Delhi gets up to a good start, then it's fine to not send Sarfaraz Khan. That's exactly what happened in the match against Kolkata Knight Riders, where Delhi got off to a flyer, where David Warner and Prithvi Shaw was batting really well. Rishabh Pant came at number 3, if I'm not wrong. Then Rahman Paul walked in at number 4. But I really don't want to say Rahman Paul at number 3 as well, because Rahman Paul has a very poor matchup against leg spin, and he's not done well if you look at this tournament's entirety as well. He struggled miserably, and I understand the reason why Rahman Paul is added into the squad, because he comes in with a reputation of that X factor players tag, where he can change the match from the first 5 balls or first 6 balls, where he walks in and he can power through and he can change the match scores, like as he does for West Indies in the recent past, as he's done for West Indies, or as he has come to India and done it quite a few times as well in that T20 series. But now Sarfaraz Khan's job will be to bat at number 3, and I hope Delhi management really considers that, because one thing which we're also seeing is that Delhi this time has been very erratic with their batting positions, and they're not very clear with their plans as well. They've played an Anvik Nokia when he was half fit. They brought back Khalil Ahmed. They played Mustafizur. Only one player has had a settled role, that's been Kuldeep Yadav. Rest and Prithvi Shaw. Otherwise, everybody has had a very erratic planning in terms of their innings approach, and that's one of the reasons why they've lost plenty of games as well. I also would like to see someone like a Lalit Yadav bat up the order. I wouldn't mind seeing him at number 5, because I think number 6 makes the batting order a little more bleaker, because Lalit Yadav, Akshar Patel, and Shardul Thakur, they all have got the ability with the bat, but then Rahman Powell at number 6 and Lalit Yadav at number 5 would possibly give them that balance, ideally going ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's probably what they're looking at as well. This time around, you might see Sarfaraz Khan play at that role, hopefully. But I think what I agree with Abel is the fact that they played Sarfaraz Khan way too low for his potential. I think he ended up not batting in that match, if I'm not wrong. And that isn't fair to the talent of Sarfaraz Khan, the kind of match practice that the kind of matches or the kind of form that he's coming into this tournament. You're probably wasting his talent. Let's speak about this matchup now, the interesting matchup that we have.
I just wanted to say I just wanted to add that Delhi Capitals, when the last 2 seasons, they did very well. They went to the playoffs. They were almost on the verge of winning. They reached the finals once, and then they were knocked out by KKR in the last season. But my point is, why did they change anything in the lineup? Because they got in David Warner for Shikhar Dhawan in place of Shikhar Dhawan, which you can say is a like-to-like replacement. Then they are mainly missing Shreyas Iyer. So to fill that number 3 slot, they can either employ a Sarfaraz Khan or a Lalit Yadav, because last time around you saw that they used Marcus Stoinis as Marcus Stoinis and Shimron Hetmeyer as their finishers. So they had Mitchell Marsh and they have Robman Powell. So why not keep the same mantra and use them similarly, which has given you success? The mantra that has given you success, why not go to it? So just get in a stable Indian batter at number 3, either Sarfaraz Khan or Lalit Yadav. Number 4 is Rishabh Pant, and number 5 and number 6 you can use Robman Powell and say a Lalit Yadav or Sarfaraz Khan, whoever does not bat at number 3. When Mitchell Marsh is back, he can join in at number 6. So I think that will be a lot more stable than what it is right now.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Also, Abel spoke about Delhi having only maybe 2 wins out of 5 games. I would like to say that is a dream for millions. So I don't think that's a problem at all.
Actually, tomorrow one of the teams will get 2 wins, and one of the teams might get one win. So
I mean,
tomorrow either of the team has to.
Probably win. Tomorrow is it's gonna be such a weird game tomorrow. It's for the first time when Chennai and Mumbai are fighting for the wooden spoon, and not for the top spot. This table is pretty much. I think this is going to be such a nice conversation we're going to have tomorrow, me and Sanjay.
I don't think I'm quite available tomorrow.
Just about tomorrow's game, whatever Chennai does, Mumbai does better. So if Chennai is losing, Mumbai is losing better than them. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't know, man. I just hope. I mean, I don't know as far as tomorrow's game is concerned. Actually, I think one of you took Yash Dhul's name. I had almost forgotten that he's in the squad. I was actually very excited to see him since the Under-19 World Cup. It doesn't look like someone who's raw or doesn't think when he bats. So I actually thought that he would get good amount of chances than what he has gotten. But I think maybe you can look ahead. Devang Travis played amazingly in the World Cup, but maybe a Yash Dhul wasn't very far behind. I mean, he was playing very well. He was middling the ball. He was not tinkering too much with what he can do. He knows his strengths. So I was actually very excited to see Yash Dhul, but maybe not to be probably not this season.
Yeah, I mean, I expected Yash Dhul to play because I remember there's a similar story that Yash Dhul had as Prithvi Shaw did. Prithvi Shaw came, into the won the Under-19, played really well, then came into the Ranji setup, scored a century on debut, went on to play well in the Ranji matches. Same has been with the case of Yash Dhul. So I expected them to trust Yash Dhul as much as they trusted Prithvi Shaw. I don't know why. Maybe there's something that we don't know, that the coaching staff and the staff at Delhi Capitals knows, that that's the reason why Yashtul is not playing. I expected either Yashtul or Sarfaraz Khan. That's what I spoke in the preview as well. Yashtul and Sarfaraz Khan. Either of them, and then you had probably Mitch Marsh, whom they're unfortunate to be missing out on. Mitch Marsh, Tim Seifert, and Rishabh Pant. Then they could just be, based on matchups, based on match situation, they could, have a shuffling of these three, and then you would have either of that happening. But that has not been the case, and that's probably why Delhi hasn't looked the team. The fact that there's been so much chopping and changing. Sometimes they've been too much focused on the matchup. Sometimes they haven't at all focused on the matchup. It's been confusing, to say the least, for them.
Somewhere I feel, Shreyas Iyer as a captain makes a difference. I don't know.
Yeah, I think Rishabh Pant probably has his performance is probably affected. The captaincy probably affected his performance. I mean, I am not the statistician here. I mean, if Sandivani can, hopefully the next match of Delhi Capitals bring out numbers of Rishabh Pant pre-captaincy and post-captaincy, I think we'll see a steady change there. I think previous IPL also he did not.
But fairly,
lighted on fire. Yeah.
Yeah, but without Rishabh Pant, I mean, it's been the case with almost everyone. Like Hardik Pandya's numbers have dropped, so have Rahul's, so have Rohit Sharma's, so have MS Dhoni's, and so have Virat Kohli's. So he's no stranger. I mean, of course, captain, he does add a little more pressure, and if there's some kind of change needs to be made, then look, the captain in 20 is mostly at the forefront of being in the middle of the change. So it's not but I don't know. Somewhere I feel Shreyas Iyer could soak in that pressure like what he did the other day. I mean,
Sanjay, I think your voice, we're having a bit of a network issue, I think, with you. Yeah, Sanjit, he dropped off. All right, let's just get to Michael's question. Yeah, Sanjit, I think you're back. You're back with us, I think.
I'm audible now, or is there some problem?
The slight issue. Can you speak a little bit more?
One second. Now is it okay, or is?
Yeah, it's better. Okay, yeah.
It's better. Yeah. So nothing. I was just saying, someone like a Rishabh Pant needs to have a 40 ball, 65, 70, at least 2-3 times. Around starting from the beginning to maybe one in the middle to one in the end, where he has to especially lead from the front, and that he hasn't quite been doing. Whereas Shreyas Iyer has, maybe this year or last year or the year before that. And I believe that he was a catalyst in the change of Delhi Capitals' fate, and not the change in game. But unfortunately, Delhi have dropped him. I'm sure there was a lot of thought behind it, but I feel with Shreyas Iyer at the helm of the things would have been a little different than how they are right now. So that's one thing I have to say. Apart from that, I don't know. I mean, for somebody who believes his team is doing everything right, I don't think there's a lot of opinions I can have.
Yeah, Abel, I'll ask you this question. What do you think about Mustafizur being dropped? Do you think it's fair on him? Probably just one match where Dinesh Karthik just took him to the cleaners. Is it fair on him to be dropped? Or do you think you should now trust Nokia?
No, not really, because he's done a job. He's done a decent job for Delhi so far. And if you look at the bowling attack, they've done reasonably well. It's not their bowling attack which has let them down. It's more to do with their lower middle order, which has let them down. Even if you look at their first match, which they played against Mumbai Indians, they were in a position where they could have easily lost that match. All thanks to Lalit Yadav and Akshar Patel, who pulled them through and helped them to win that match. Honestly, they could have lost even that match by a good amount of margin. And that's one of the reasons. That's one of the areas which will be concerning them. That's why I was saying that possibly even if Anvik Nokia is completely fit, I see Mustafizur Rahman going out. But then so far it doesn't look like it. And also today they are just playing with 3 foreigners, if I'm not wrong. So there's still a slot for a foreigner to come in. I don't know who's going to come in now. With Tim Seifert is also out. Mitchell Marsh is also out. I only see Mustafizur being the only option, other than if Andre Knock is not fit. Mustafizur is the only option they have. So they have to play him. And he's done a decent job. And even if you look at that match, if just barring that over, he did a very good job bowling up front in the power play and also in the middle overs. And he's got that variation as well, what you probably need with the pitches getting a little more slower going into the back end of the tournament. You would need his variations coming into the fore, where he's got that deception where he can bowl in any phases of the game, and he can deceive the batsman with their off cutters. And now he's also developed a leg cutter, which is good to see. And I'm sure that Delhi will need his services going ahead in the tournament, and he's done a decent job. Talking about bowling front, they will have to also see how someone like a Shardul Thakur steps up even more, because he's used as a third seamer, because they've got genuinely good forward bowling options. Akshar Patel has not really come into the party. If you look at this tournament, he has been on and off. He's done a good job economically, but then if you look at his wicket taking ability, he's one of the retained players as well. You know, you
He's
expect a
only
lot
had,
more out
I
of him.
think he's only gotten 1 wicket in 17 overs. I think that's his
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah, no, those are not really good numbers if you're a
Hmm.
Delhi Capitals fan and if you have really trusted him, because over the last couple of years he has delivered quite well for them. That's one of the reasons why they've had really good success as a team as well in the last couple of these seasons, especially. And now, talking about Akshar Patel, they would want him to step up, and Shardul Thakur and Akshar Patel, that job, those two bowlers will really need to step up for this team to have a longer run in the tournament. And you cannot say they're out of the tournament. They look like a team which cannot bounce back. They've got all the ammunition to do that, because if someone like a David Warner and Prithvi Shaw really fires all guns, they can easily win them possibly 4 5 games. And if you look at even last year's Chennai Super Kings, almost 70% of their runs were scored by their openers. So if you have two players really performing well, you can still win an IPL. It's not like your entire team should come into the party and every match all the players should step in. You can expect these kind of things happening time in and time off.
And I almost forgot that CSK are the defending champions, not doing a good job at defending it. But I think we've got 5 minutes before the match begins. So quickly, then all of your predictions for today's match. Whom do you think is going to trounce the other? Two teams coming with a lot of flaws, but at the end of the day, there has to be a winner. I'll start with you, Sandivani.
I think I'll break the jinx of like getting my match predictions wrong. Like I have got my match predictions wrong in the last 3 to 5 games, but I think today Punjab Kings will win. Delhi, they are. If Norke is not fit, Punjab Kings will win, because they will struggle against pacers. They have struggled against pacers, like fast bowling options like Umran Malik in the past. So let's see.
Sanjit, what do you think?
I don't know. I feel pretty confident for Delhi Capitals to take this one home. I mean, I don't know. I feel so. Of course, you said Punjab is batting first, right? And they have to go hard from the beginning. And somewhere I feel they will try and really try and overpower Delhi in the first 5 6 overs itself. That's been their mindset. I feel they're gonna go to 170, 180, or maybe a little more, or maybe about 190. But I feel Delhi will chase this down. I feel maybe a Shaw or someone is going to come good tonight, because spoke about Arshdeep being great and keep troubling, but that's the kind of bowling someone like a Prithvi Shaw likes. Even Sarfaraz Khan for that matter. I'm hoping they'll come good today. So let's see. I'm rooting for Delhi this night.
All right, one for Delhi, one for Punjab. Abel, would you like to pick the tie? I think you're on mute. I can't hear you.
I have a soft corner towards
Yes.
Delhi, because especially they are under some adversity right now. It'll be great if they win. If they can really pull this off, it'll really boost their morale as well, and it'll be good for the tournament. You wouldn't want to see the bottom three going away from the tournament. Then it makes the tournament very dull tournament. You still want all the 9 or 10 teams to at least compete. so so that'll be good just for the sake of the tournament. And also, if Punjab wins, they go on top of RCB. I don't know. Do they? No, they don't. No, they don't. So yeah,
For
it's safe.
all the grandstanding that you did, I think it all boils down to whether RCB is staying on top or not. All right. So 2-1 is from our panel. Let's hope it goes for them.
We'd like to know your predictions as well, sir.
Yes.
I mean, for me, right? I mean, I was trying to escape, but then probably I think I like to even the odds and say Punjab will win today, because I think Delhi probably coming with a little bit of lack of practice and a little bit of turmoil in their camp, and that's probably why I feel them not doing as well. And their opening partnerships been a big reason. Delhi Capitals, once you break through their opening partnership, that's when this team looks completely out of shape. And I think Grabada has what it takes. He's got a very good matchup against David Warner, and if I'm not wrong, that could be one of the reasons why I think Punjab could just power through. But it's going to be a difficult one to predict. Both the teams are coming in with a lack of form. But let's hope. I think so. Even in the odds, that's probably what I'm doing. And anyway, this match doesn't have that much of a grand standing. If I have to bring in my bias, CSK is pretty much down in the dumps. So nothing like what Abel has. So yeah. Anyway, let's see. I think the match is almost yet to begin. So that's it from us. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. We hope your individual predictions come true, especially for Sandipani. He needs a win. But
Yeah,
thank you for
definitely.
joining us, everyone else as well. We hope you like the predictions, and if you liked it, please subscribe, like our video, and join us for tomorrow as well. We're gonna come to you daily as much as we can, and we hope we come on the better side of things. All right, and thank you so much, guys.